Hi, it's Stacey Berger here. As a transformational life coach, I am passionate about you living a life that you love. One of my personal visions has been to travel the world and walk in the footsteps of some of the great teachers that have come before us and that are on the planet today. And to do that with a guru, to really understand the commonalities in the different spiritual teachings, the science teachings, and ultimately, how do we create transformation? Earlier this year, my husband Jeff and I, we had the opportunity to do a spiritual pilgrimage in Israel, which was one of my bucket list items coming true. And I wanted to bring to you one of the teachings from that trip that really has impacted me in such a powerful way. On one of the days on our pilgrimage, we were sailing on the Sea of Galilee. And if you're familiar with the Bible stories, the Sea of Galilee is where Jesus was walking on water. And as the boat filled with his disciples saw him walking on water, there was this fear and what's going on. Jesus invited his disciples to come out on the water with him, and only one of them chose to do that. Walking on the water represents us walking above our conditions in our own life, staying on a vibration over our circumstances, over our conditions, to keep our thoughts above what could potentially sink us. And so as one of the apostles steps out on that water, he's walking on the water. But the moment he starts looking down, which represents us looking at our conditions, looking at our circumstances, looking at our worries, looking at our fears, looking at what could go wrong, he starts to sink. And that's what happens to us. We start to spiral. We start to go down those negative thoughts of what could happen. We start taking different actions. Maybe we start to isolate ourselves, or we start to act in a place of fear, which creates a certain result. It was when he looked up again, when we reconnect with our vision, with that power that's breathing us, we rise above those conditions and we walk on the water, or we walk above our circumstances. There is a power that's breathing you right now that is greater than any condition, any circumstance you're facing. But that requires us to stay connected to that higher power, to stay connected to our vision, to rise above the circumstances. And when we walk on the water of our thoughts, that's when we create transformation. The other powerful teaching in this story is there was 9 disciples in the boat, but only one of them got out. And it really takes courage for us to go against the common hour thinking, the condition-based thinking, what most people on the planet are doing today. It requires us to really be a leader in that for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. And if we want to walk on water, we first have to get out of the boat. We understand this idea when we're first learning how to drive, and sometimes when we're new drivers, we tend to look at the white lines, or we look at the ditch, or we look at the thing that we don't want to hit. And what can happen, and what happens, is we start to drift towards that. So know that wherever you're placing your attention, whatever you're looking at, that's what you're moving towards. And that's the power of this. Again, having that crystal clear vision, it gives you a place to put your attention so you're not ending up in the ditch, so to speak. How can you apply this into your life right now? Is there a condition or a circumstance that maybe has you sinking, has you drowning? Really important to have a vision, to have goals that you're in love with, that you can stay connected to. And as long as you're connected to those visions, you will begin to see opportunities. You'll have ideas that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. So this is your opportunity to really take a step outside of your boat, outside of your comfort zone, and learn to walk on that water in your own life. Here is to you living a life you love.